Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Shane, a 24-year-old salesman with blue eyes and blonde hair, got on the plane to go to downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. He had done this trip many times before, and he always made sure to get his work done quickly so he could get back to his office and not miss any other business opportunities. But things were different this time. Even though he told his boss it was business, it wasn't at all. Shane had planned this week-long trip for months before he went. As the plane took off from his hometown, he knew he was free and could finally be the person he had always wanted to be. Shayna? Shane had enough time on the 2-hour flight to go over his list of things to do. He looked on the internet for months for the perfect clothes, makeup, wigs, manicure sets, jewelry, and everything else he would need to go out dressed for the first time in his life. Shane bought these things online, had them sent to Salt Lake, plus the fact that he took online makeup lessons and practiced at home after midnight when no one was around, made it clear that he would pass. Shane felt better about himself after he thought about these things. As the plane went down toward its destination, he couldn't wait to get off the plane. Shane went to get his bags and then rented a white convertible. He then went to the downtown Salt Lake City Marriott, which would be his new home for the next week. Friday afternoon was a beautiful spring day, but he knew that spring nights in this town could be quite cool. He was glad he had ordered the long leather jacket at the last minute and hoped it would arrive in his lockbox on time. The bellman, whose name tag said Mario, asked him if he needed anything else when he got to his room. "No, thank you, sir, but I have a question. This isn't a regular room like the ones I usually get. It's the executive suite." Shane was stuttering. "I know, because we've had a lot of parties up in this suite. The manager told me that since the suite wasn't booked and you're a good customer, he decided to give you this suite for the same price as a regular room." "Well," Shane laughed, "if it's boring out tonight, I might just throw a party here." After Mario left, Shane quickly picked up the phone and called the lockbox manager. He told them to bring the packages to the executive suite at the Marriott downtown. Shane then called room service and asked for 1 bottle of red wine, 1 bottle of white wine, some beer, and a bucket of ice. Shane sat back on the super king-sized bed and looked around the beautiful suite. He saw leather couches, a bar with granite countertops, glamorous light fixtures with 5 different settings, and a makeup table with 3 mirrors and a lot of light. There were mirrors on the ceiling and walls, and the large, round jacuzzi shower combination was near the picture window that looked out over the city. After only a few minutes, room service knocked on the door, and a dark-haired guy rolled the cart into the room and brought the things that had been ordered. Shane signed the check and gave him a tip. The guy then asked, "Are you having guests tonight?" Shane was shaking on the inside, but he kept his cool and said, Maybe." But what he really wanted to say was, "Why don't you come up here at 10 o'clock and see for yourself?" Shane cracked open a cold beer to calm down before opening the next, more exciting package. A few seconds later, a man with a cart full of boxes and packages and a lockbox arrived. Shane drank his beer like it was water after the delivery guy left, and then he started unpacking his real clothes and accessories. When he was done, he was so happy that everything had arrived in good shape, even the long leather coat that he almost forgot to order. Shane yelled and squealed like a little girl who was very happy. Shane took the shower that would start his transformation at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Shane carefully shaved his legs. Now it was time for a bubble bath in a jacuzzi with scents that made her feel pretty and a nice glass of wine in a pricey crystal glass. Shane felt so feminine. Everything felt so velvety. Shane thought it was heaven to sit in the tub for an hour, but he knew he still had to do more to change his cravings. He got out of the tub, filled his wine glass, and danced over to the dresser, where he had put his underwear on, and picked up the stretchy, lacy red garter skirt. This was the turning point, and Shane would now call himself Shayna. The next thing Shayna chose was nylons. She couldn't choose between the 2 white pairs. She decided to take the garter straps off her garter skirt and replace them with sheer white stay-up stocks with fluffy lace at the top. She carefully straightened the white seam that went up the back of her feet to make sure it was perfect. Shayna's next plan was to sit down in front of the well-lit three-way mirror and put on her makeup. She took a black headband out of her purse and put it on her forehead, then over her head and down the back of her head until it was close to the nape of her neck. She then slowly pulled the front of it up toward her hairline, each time pulling her scalp back, tightening her forehead, and raising her eyebrows to make her eyes look bigger. Even though it was tight and uncomfortable, she knew that this was a key part of her beauty. Shayna used tweezers to pull out each of her eyebrow hairs, which hurt like hell. During a break, she looked in the mirror and said in her higher-pitched voice that she had practiced at home, "Shayna, baby, even without makeup, you are beautiful, but let's get back to work." Shayna squealed with joy and said it over and over, holding some syllables longer each time to make her voice sound more feminine. So she did, putting on foundation that was a little darker than her natural skin color, powder to get rid of the shine, and rose blush. Shayna got her new false eyelashes, which were already jet black. She had 4 more pairs in her makeup bag after all. Once the glue on Shayna's eyelashes had dried enough, she batted her eyes in the mirror, winked, and said, some of the extra glue was covered up with jet black liquid eyeliner, but she did a great job of getting her eyes fixed by a professional. She combed out her bottom lashes and put on 3 coats of black mascara that matched her top lashes. She also put liquid eyeliner on the bottom lid so that it went a little past the corner of her eye and then a little more up, giving her a feminine-like look. With steady hands, she used a thin, dark brown pencil to paint her brows thin and a little higher up than usual. She used charcoal and lavender eyeshadows to fill in her upper lids perfectly. At the corner of each eye, she curved the charcoal paint up to match the curve of her eyeliner, and she finished with a light dusting of gold glitter. With the extra touch of eyeliner and eyeshadow. She didn't want her makeup to melt or run, so before she got up, she took one last look at her face in the mirror. Wow, I look amazing. She went to her jewelry box on the dresser and put on her 3 gold hoops. Her ears had been pierced 6 months ago. At first they felt heavy, but after she looked at this beautiful girl in the mirror, she no longer felt the weight. Instead, she felt her new jewelry dangle and swing. Then she put 1 ring on each finger and thumb of her right hand, and the same on her left hand except for her ring finger, because she didn't want to scare away any handsome men this evening. Shayna looked in the mirror from every angle and felt like something was missing, but she already knew what it was before she finished thinking it. My mouth. As she stumbled back to the makeup table, she used a dark red lip liner pencil to draw on full, pouty lips, and then she covered them with a thick, blood-red lipstick. On top of that, she opened 1 box of wigs and took out the first one she had ordered online 5 months ago. It was her favorite, and it was still in great shape. A blonde wig that was already pinned up in the back by the factory, curly on top, with 1 seductive tendril spiraling down each side past her ears to her shoulders, but not covering her gold hoop earrings. The 3 long, straight bangs were perfect, stopping just above her raised eyebrows. When Shayna turned to the side, the 3-way mirror let her see her smooth, long neck. She yelled out loud as she looked in the mirror, "Girl, you look beautiful." As the sun went down behind the snow-covered mountains, the city lights started to come on, but Shayna knew she had a minute or 2 to relax. She lit a cigarette and poured a 3rd glass of wine for herself, taking a weak drag on the long, thin cigarette and blowing the smoke up while looking at herself in the mirror room. Then looking at the red paint she had left on the tip of the cigarette and taking a quick sip of her wine because she wanted to see the lipstick smudge she would leave on the crystal wine glass. The feeling was coming back. She was a real girl. Shayna looked at the time, quickly put her half-smoked cigarette away, and decided it was time to eat. She carefully asked room service to leave the cart outside her door after she ordered a shrimp salad and a big bottle of water. As she ate her shrimp salad, Shayna watched herself in the mirror and practiced her posture and table manners. With each bite, she did something different, from cute to mean. It was time for her to get dressed for a fun night out. She opened one of the bags and pulled out a red lycra dress, then she put it on. Shayna struggled a bit to let it fit because it was pretty small, but once she did, she knew it was the right choice. Now it was time for the shoes. Shayna chose the shiny red patent platforms with 2 ankle cuffs and small gold buckles because she didn't have to think about it. The bright red platforms were 2 inches high, and the 5-inch stiletto heels had ankle buckles that were made of gold. Shayna bought 2 heels and practiced at home 6 months ago, but now she felt like she was on stilts and knew she would need to work on her balance and walking. The extra work of training would be worth it because the pumps made her long legs even longer. Shayna strutted around the suite for the next half an hour, keeping an eye on the mirrors and keeping her stomach in and shoulders back. She put on music and practiced dancing, and with each step she felt more sure of herself. Shayna bent over her makeup chair with her legs straight to quickly check how she had painted her face. She even stayed in that position as she pressed her fingernails to get ready to put on the last piece. Shayna ordered 7 sets of fingernails, already painted in different colors, so she wouldn't have to mess with polish. Her cuticles were already peeled back so that the nail could fit over her real nail. The choice for tonight was shiny red to match her red lipstick. Her cuticles had already been pushed back so that the nail could fit over her real nail and hide any sign of a man's hand. With a little glue, she was done. Shayna's quick manicure was almost as good as a professional job. The red was so bright and shiny that it almost looked like wet paint. She wore a red satin neck scarf to hide her Adam's apple, and the foretail was turned to the side so it brushed her right shoulder. Shayna put a lot of Red Door perfume on herself. She sprayed some on each wrist and a little more on her thin neck. I was now ready for my time out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out Patreon for a lot more content and early access to YouTube videos.